Hello, my name is Mitchell T. Palmer for BeyondBarbering.com. Those of you out there in Gentleman Barber land, this is what I do on the other side. Again, Mitchell T. Palmer, and as most of you already know, you know my name, damn it. Today I want to talk to you about free will. In his book, Notes from the Underground, Dostoevsky wrote, "Good heavens, gentlemen, what sort of free will is left when we come to tabulation or arithmetic? When it will be a case of twice 2 makes 4, well, twice 2 makes 4 without my will, as if free will meant that? No, free will doesn't mean that. What free will means is something different. We're going to talk about that in this short video. Soren Kierkegaard wrote, "Among other thoughts, I remember these. You are going on, I said to myself, to become an old man without being anything, without really undertaking to do anything." Well, is that where you are? That's where I was. You go to work in a cubicle, at a restaurant, at the open window of a fast food joint. Maybe you've been fortunate enough to achieve that corner executive office. Well, that's nice. But are we endowed with the opportunity to get all that we hope for, to achieve everything that we want? Or is it necessary for us to not have everything we want, to not achieve all of our goals and desires, because in not achieving them, we are satisfied with life? What about satisfaction? Is it satisfying to be a cow in a pen and be fed just enough to stay sedate, content, and fat while you work away in that cubicle, that executive corner office, or out on the road somewhere, construction? Pick a career path, it doesn't matter. But while you're working hard to make somebody else's dream come true, have you stopped to think that you're becoming an old man, an old woman? That you're really undertaking to do very little, if anything? Sure, it's nice to have security, economic security especially, and we've certainly seen that in the last few years as the world's economy, I know my economy here at my place of business, have been hit hard over the pandemic, as we call it. Well, what about free will? I want to have a free will to not be affected by these economic things. Is that how it works? Well, just as my free will has no impact on twice 2 equaling 4, my free will not to want to participate in a bad economy isn't really relative. So what about that? Say we take the guy, you're the man in the executive office, the woman at the top of her career path, and you've secured for yourself economic security. But there's still that nagging feeling in the back of your mind that you're not doing what you were born to do. You're not guiding your own future. You're not the captain of your own ship. Well, I found myself in that position. I've made very good money in the past. Well, at one point, the people who signed my paychecks decided that due to mismanagement on the executive level, a handful of us had to go, and I became a victim of layoffs. I decided at that point to continue to look for a job, but that same company followed after me and kept sending letters threatening me and potential new employers if I violated my non-compete agreement. So there's how working for someone else's dream had paid off for me in the long run. What I got instead was the opportunity to work harder for someone else until they no longer needed me. And then my free will ended, or at least my security economically. And it was really damn secure. But something about my career in corporate America kept me feeling that I wasn't doing what I was meant to do. You know, pissed off, tired of it all. What am I doing? If they're paying me this amount of money, the company must certainly be making double or more than double that amount to justify having me on their payroll. I always had a dream to be self-employed. Let's talk of liberty and freedom, or maybe freedom versus liberty. What does free mean? Free to do whatever you want? Does it also provide the freedom from the consequences of doing whatever you want? On the other side, we have the concept of liberty. Liberty means I can do what I want, but I do bear the responsibility of both paying for the consequences that come or being able to shout to the rooftops when my efforts have been successful. So the problem we have at times is that people who do achieve things that are greater than the average everyday ordinary cubicle dweller, we have a label for them. They're egomaniacal freaks, yeah? Why can't you be humble? Well, why should I be humble? I've spent my entire career working for somebody else, and at the end of it all, due to choices that I had no control over, I'm looking for work again. And on top of that, you're chasing behind me and making sure that I don't work again in the industry that I am skilled in. So yeah, I set out to become self-employed. What is the American dream? The American dream, to me, is not that house on the hill, the car that nobody else can compare to. You know, the exotic car, the off-road, heavy-duty, high horsepower pickup truck. Each brand seems to have their own version of it. Is that what we're after? Looking to the neighbors and seeing what kind of house they have, what kind of car they have, and saying, I'm going to do better than that. There's no sports car, man, like owning your own business, being your own man or woman, and determining your outcome. Now, I do have the freedom to come and go as I please at my place of business. I also have the freedom to pay for the consequences. But if you work in corporate America or even in someone else's small business for them, it's their dream you're pursuing. Don't show up for several days in a row. Double down on that. Don't show up for several days in a row, and don't call or bother to tell them that you're not going to show up or why you didn't show up. And what will you be left with at the end of that? What I see being left with is no career. Now, I have the same problem being self-employed. If I show up or don't show up, it impacts my future. It impacts my economic security. If I merely keep going through my corporate day job, like a lion, king of beasts, who kills a zebra and then eats, gorges himself until he's so bloated and so tired he can't do anything but sleep for a day, maybe two. Is that what I'm here to do? Well, I submit to you that it is not what you're here to do. And if you've had these nagging feelings in the back of your mind in the past, you know what I'm talking about. But how do you get self-employed from working in a cubicle or taking orders at the drive-through window? That's where I can help you. I've made a career out of barbering for 14 years. I've also made all the mistakes in the book. So my job is to try and guide you in following that American dream, which is not being in debt to a mortgage or several banks for all the cars in the world. The American dream, you can have all the material things and all the economic security in the world and still not feel like you're doing anything but becoming an old man or an old woman. That you really have done nothing with your life. A career in barbering can be very satisfying in that after you put in a little bit of time, do the work, you can actually be paid to spend your day with people you really like being around. Go to beyondbarbering.com or add comments here and let me know if there's any questions you have. But whatever you do, pursue the real American dream. And that's being independent, practicing liberty, and exerting your free will on your own damn life. Again, my name is Mitchell T. Palmer for Gentleman Barber and Beyond Barbering Academy, saying be good or don't get caught.